Assalamu alaikum, and respect for everyone. And now we're Friday night and 9 p.m. and that only means one thing: I mean business. Now, to give you a little bit of background, if it's your first time watching I Mean Business, it's a business program. We cover diverse subjects: economics, stock market, starting up in business, entrepreneurship. I did a nice series on that as well. And talking about stock market, we're going to follow on from last week's show, and we had a great guest, Professor Humand Dar. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. So we're expanding on last week, and we've got your Mahesh as well. And I've got another guest with us, Abdi. MashaAllah.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so Professor Dar, may I call you? Can you summarize last week's show, what basically we covered?
That's right. Basically last time we talked about shares and stocks and Islamic stance on them. In summary, we said that there is nothing wrong in investing in listed companies, i.e. in their stocks and shares, as long as the underlying business of the companies is in compliance with Sharia. Many people have misconceptions about investing in shares and stocks. They believe that this is haram to invest in listed companies, primarily because they think that this is very similar to gambling. And we clarified this point by saying that this is not how Sharia looks at stocks and shares of listed companies. And we discussed a number of issues: how a company can be considered as Sharia compliant, what are the parameters which make a company in compliance with Sharia, if there are certain businesses which are owned by Muslims, does it mean that these companies are Sharia compliant? All these issues were discussed. There were some questions from the viewers. We answered those questions, and I'm sure in this program there will be quite a few more questions, and we'll be very happy to answer those questions.
So gentlemen, I've actually, from last week, we've had a lot of viewers email me with a lot of questions. Some of the viewers, they don't get the technical stuff, so maybe Mahesh can sort of cover the technical side. Basically people are asking, what is a stock market and why do we need the stock market?
Okay, traditionally most businesses look for financing. And conventional financing is either you mortgage your house or your property or go to the bank and borrow money to start a business. And that is an age-old way of doing business. Today we have something called capital markets. And most companies in the Western world today, whether they're a startup, a great idea, they go to the capital markets and raise money so that they don't borrow money from the banks, etc. We have a very vibrant capital market structure which helps small companies as well as large corporations. So I think what's happened is that most Islamic enterprises or smaller homegrown companies have been intimidated about going to capital markets because in England they feel that the 1 square mile is not approachable, etc. So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about that capital markets outside the reach of a small company. I think that is totally misunderstood. Capital markets is about helping small businesses. And if you look at the entire universe of the entire stock markets, you will find that 60 to 70% of the economic dynamics of a stock market is emerging growth companies. That is what a stock market is about.
Excellent.
And when we spoke to Dr. Dar here, I think we were in discussions about why is Islamic enterprises shunning or afraid of considering capital markets to finance their projects.
Okay, did you want to add something?
Basically, of Muslims, in most cases, they say, why do we need a stock market? And the answer is very simple. If I run a family-owned business, if I'm content with having that small business, that's fine. but in most cases, people would like to grow. Right? When you want to expand your size, you need more capital. Okay? And as Mahesh was saying, if you go to a bank would charge you a lot of money. Okay? I.e., expanding your business will become very, very expensive for you. Alternatively, you can go to capital markets. In capital markets, you can raise more money in the form of debt as well as in the form of equity. So when we refer to stock markets, basically we are referring to equity. Equity means, well, I started this business, now the business has gone up, it's growing, I need more money. So I'm looking for more partners. Right? So investors, and I don't know many partners. Okay? So when I go to a stock market, I list my company, a number of people come to know of my business, and if they are interested in it, they would invest and they would share the profit and loss, which is very much in line with Islamic requirements.
Right. I mean, you pretty much answered a couple of questions. One of the callers was actually, last week, was asking me, how does a stock exchange work, which you kind of answered on that point. Now, people have heard some terms and they can't really understand this. They've heard things like market makers and, you know, bull market, bear markets. I mean, what's all that? Can you sort of clear some of the jargon?
Okay, I think let's start with market makers. Okay. You have different exchanges where you have a market-making type of exchange, you have an auction exchange. So there are different types of exchanges, and a market-making operation is mostly based proprietary trading. And most exchanges driven by a market-making operation is, in our opinion, a recipe for disaster. And so most exchanges today have gone away from the market-making arena, more to a quotation-based driven or a auction-based system where there is transparency, etc. In a market-making operation, there is not much transparency purely because I am the buyer, I am the seller. So I can make up my mind which is the bid and what is the offer. So that is what a market-making operation. So I think people should not confuse, when they're going to invest in a stock exchange. I think they should consider that it's not a market-making operation or market-driven operation.
Okay.
Talking about a bear market, bull market, it's when you have a recession or you have a market that's spiraling downwards, people say that's a bear market. A bull market is, compare the bull in a raging fashion. So when the market is roaring ahead, it's called a bull market. It was too simple.
Excellent. Very good. Brother Abdi, you wanted to add something?
Very interesting terms, bull and bear. It's very encouraging and it's enlightening as well to see that the gentleman here, Professor Dar and Mahesh, focusing on these issues, because one of the main important things is we need to invest, and with investment comes jobs. And from my political side, we always want to have more jobs, and I think the job creation, the benefits from this I hope will be very, very great. And but I had one question I wanted to ask. From the normal viewer, from being a local person who is interested in this myself, what will I need to do, for example, to invest, basically from being at home? What will I need to do to get up and come to you and invest in shares in the stock exchange? How do I have to go there?
You know, that kind of links in with another question, because people are asking, can they approach the stock exchange directly and buy shares, or do they need a broker, or a dealer or some sort? So, Mahesh, maybe you can clarify that.
If I am a private investor, I would approach a local brokerage firm. There are hundreds of brokerage firms. So you approach them, open an account, and either you want to trade equities or you want to trade commodities. And so you have different types of brokers. You have the commodity brokers and you have the equity brokers. So you open an account with them, and some of them give you advice as to what to buy and sell, or what stocks to invest in. And I think you have a number of publications today which helps and assists beginners or investors as to what is good in the marketplace